Hello? My name is Megan, and I got your number from your husband's phone. I figured it was time I sent you a notice about who I am and who I am to your husband, Charlie. Actually, he and I have been together for some time now. He was just too busy with me to tell you to leave. So, it would be great if you could be a dear and help us out here. It would be even more great if you could hurry up and step out of the picture. Okay? Thanks.
Who is this? Megan who? I don't know a Megan. You must have the wrong number. But seeing as how you had to introduce yourself, the person you are trying to reach must be a stranger too. Who are you to send such vulgar messages to a complete stranger? Have you no respect?
Oh, honey, it's okay. I understand. You must be so devastated to be betrayed by your trusted husband like this. It's just the initial shock. It'll pass. But let me say it again so you can really process this. I am sleeping with Charles. We have been for months now. We just celebrated our 6-month anniversary the other night. I'm with him right now. He's napping next to me. Your marriage is over, girl.
What on earth? My husband. Charles is with you right now.
He sure is. You thought he was at work, didn't you? Every morning, you thought he was off to work, so you got up at the crack of dawn and prepared a hearty breakfast for him, didn't you? Ironed and starched his button-ups, picked out his ties and shoes, and personally handed him his briefcase at the door, didn't you? And after he left to go to work, you went right ahead to cleaning, dusting, washing, wiping, tidying up all day, every day. Even then, you couldn't have the love you thought you deserved as a wife. Oh, I know this must be devastating to hear. But sweetie, a true queen doesn't get treated as one by being so desperately dedicated. You poor thing. You've been discarded like an old dish rag.
What? Dish rag? Discarded? Who are you? You sound like a middle school bully talking to a classmate about stealing their favorite pen. You must have the wrong number. My husband is in no condition to get out of bed, let alone be disloyal. To me or to anyone. And even if he could, he wouldn't make himself available to a vulgar woman like yourself a mile away. Please check the number and leave me alone. You have mistaken me for someone else, clearly.
I don't think so, honey.
Oh, is this a new form of catfishing? Am I being catfished right now? Well, it's not gonna work on me. I'm not that gullible, young lady. I'm calling the police now.
Catfishing? You think I'm scamming you right now? Wow, Charles was right. You are terrible at reading the situation and thinking on your feet when you're put in a disadvantageous position. You're just rambling out lies, aren't you? And don't you, young lady, me. I get that seniority is all you have on me, but come on. Be a lady and keep our age difference out of it. Gross. If you must know, even just to see how young your husband likes them, I just turned 25 last week. I am old enough to be comfortable in my own skin, but still young enough where everything is still tight and perky. I'm also old enough to know this is what I want and that this is what he wants. So now that he's taking a nap beside me, I borrowed his phone to get your number.
My husband is really there. With you, right now.
Yes. Oh, how many times do I have to tell you? Do you think if you keep asking me, it won't be true anymore? Do you need proof? Do you want me to send you a selfie? I know you've already seen him naked, but he may have changed since the last time you saw him a decade ago. There's no need to be ugly like that. I'm above it if you are. I just want you to be a dear and volunteer to leave him. Don't make a big deal, you know? What good is it for you, or for any of us really, to hold on to a shell of a man? He doesn't love you anymore. He hasn't for a long, long time. Trust me.
That is very curious. If all you're saying is true, can I ask you a question? Why are you, an eligible woman in her prime in all her perkiness, wanting to be with my husband? You take one step out of your house and the world is full of great young men who are in your own age group. There are TV programs that bring together young men and women and make couples out of them. Why are you obsessing over my Charles, who, let's be honest, isn't young or extremely handsome? Not anymore, at least.
He's still pretty young. Don't you say that about Charlie. Just because you think I'm competition doesn't mean you have to bring him down with you. What is wrong with you? I never cared about how men looked anyway. I know about the $10 million he'll be inheriting from his father soon, and that makes him the sexiest man I know. You are threatened by me because you think you'll lose that money to me now. It's embarrassing, honey, because that money was never going to be yours.
What inheritance?
What inheritance? Oh, yeah, right. Like hell you don't know. Charlie already told me you know. In fact, he told me everything. How his daddy is in the hospital fighting a losing battle with terminal cancer, and that he's leaving his entire net worth to his only son. He has maybe a month left to live if he's lucky. I mean, he's as good as gone, isn't he? Of course, you're gonna try to keep her place as Charlie's wife so you get to dip your finger in the honey pot. But no, that position is mine. Charlie is choosing me. Disappear quietly and I'll be sure to convince Charlie so you can have a fat severance check above market value.
I think I understand now, yes.
I knew you'd be interested once I mentioned the severance money. I like that. At least you're honest about your greed. Now that you've got your ears perked, there is one condition still.
You've already said more than one condition, but let's hear it. What is it?
When you leave Charlie, I need you to take his mom with you. Of course, you'll take your kids, but I need you to take his mom with you as well.
What?
His old mom. Once Charlie's daddy dies, I will bet you my life that she's gonna want to move in with him. I can't stand the thought of it, living with an old hag, fighting to be the alpha female of the house, competing for Charlie's attention like we're school children. Not to mention the old people smell. I hate old people. Ugh. I hope to God I don't live to be that old. Ew. So, I want you to volunteer to take her with you, okay?
The old hag.
Yeah. Oh, she sounds awful. So needy and naggy and high maintenance. Gross. Who does she think she is, a princess? She's like 70. I heard you and her get along really well, like real mother and daughter. She even likes you more than her own son sometimes. Is that true? That is messed up. I can't deal with that kind of bull. Nuh-uh. She's all yours. Think of the severance payment also as compensation for looking after his mom. You won't get paid like that anywhere working as a hospice nurse. So this is a great offer for you. Everybody wins.
Do you think without the old hag's approval, there will even be an inheritance? Like you guessed, in the case of a living spouse, it all goes to the spouse first.
For real? Oh, I thought that might happen. Well, I'm not worried about it. I'm sure Charlie has a plan when it comes to that. He's always complaining about his mom being annoying anyway. He's probably thought up a way to trick her into giving up her share. Did you think just because you were a little chummy with your mother-in-law that you get special treatment? That's hopeful and sweet, but very naive. Blood is always gonna be thicker than water, no matter what people say.
That is never gonna happen, I assure you. I don't foresee myself signing any document or contract presented to me concerning my renouncement of any inheritance I'm rightfully due.
What? What are you talking about?
I am not Charlie's wife. I'm his mother.
What?
That's right. I am the, what was it you called me? Old hag. It looks like you've been referring to my son rather than my husband. Did I get that right, dear?
Excuse me? I found a contact in his phone that was named Nag Queen. He would always complain about his wife nagging him, so I thought, but you're his mom, not his wife?
Last I checked, yes. As embarrassing as it is to admit, I am Charles Jr.'s mother. And yes, I'm the one whose approval and renouncement you were conspiring to obtain through less than ethical means until moments ago. I must say, I'd been contemplating whether or not to officially include my daughter-in-law as a recipient of my husband's fortune after his passing. Mainly because I was uncertain as to how my idiot son would treat her once he's had a taste of the sudden wealth coming his way, and I wanted her to have a safety net. How silly of me. It was all for nothing. I knew I should have listened to my instincts. I am glad you mistook me for my son's wife today. Now I know what my decision needs to be. There shall be absolutely no inheritance for my son or any brainless bimbo he thinks his wife is worth trading for.
Brainless bimbo? How dare you? And what are you talking about? You can't do that to your own son. He's your flesh and blood. Just because I made a tiny, honest mistake, you can't write him off like that. I thought you were his wife. You are making a huge mistake here, Mrs. Parker. We will be talking to a lawyer and coming back to you with the full force of the law to claim what is ours. You will regret this.
As you please, dear. Throw all the tantrum you want. I'll be surprised if you manage to make back the money you'll spend on hiring a lawyer. Would you like to know how I know this? Because my husband's $10 million fortune is not his to give at all.
What? He has 3 vacation homes in the Bahamas, Greece, and Hawaii, and he is the founder of Parker Heights. Nice try, but that wasn't a very good lie.
He doesn't have a dime to his name because everything is under my name. My darling husband, Charles Sr., who's been the most devoted, loving man that ever was, bought and saved everything under my name. I never once thought of the money as mine, because he is truly the mastermind behind his real estate empire. But now I'm glad that it is technically mine. I might have had a hard time convincing my husband to erase our son from his will, but since it's up to me and myself only, it should be a piece of cake. Charles Sr. never had any faith in insurance companies, you see, so you could say it was his way of securing my well-being in case something were to happen to him. I'm sure this comes to you as a foreign concept, how a man can love his wife with everything he has. My son surely has no such noble trait.
Charlie never told me that. He never mentioned anything about whose money it was. I bet it doesn't even matter. This is all hearsay and technicality.
It matters, sweetheart. In fact, it's the only thing that matters when it comes down to who gets to decide where the money goes. Were you so blinded by greed that you neglected to do any research on the subject? Do you think when the Queen of England died, her fortune would have gone to King Charles had her husband, Prince Philip, been still alive?
First of all, I don't even know what that means. And second of all, are you serious right now? Is this not some sick, desperate attempt to shoo me away? Mr. Parker really doesn't have anything for us?
Not a penny.
So then you would have to die for Charlie to get anything. And how many more years would we have to wait for that to happen then? You know, for the money to go to you and then for it to finally come to us?
What a question to ask me. You are quite something. Who knows, 30 years, 40, in this day and age where people live to be 100? Sure, I'm in my late 60s, but I'm as healthy as an ox. My own parents did not pass away until they were well into their 90s, so chances are I'll live to see the next century. Oh, please don't do anything stupid like waiting the 40 years for me to die. That would be most unwise. I will make it my life's mission to secure an ironclad will leaving everything to my daughter-in-law and her children. There won't be anything left for you to have waited for.
That's so heartless and so mean. How can you disregard your own son like that? Don't all mothers wish the best for their children? What kind of monster are you? How can you choose your daughter-in-law over your own baby boy?
Why, quite the contrary. I think this is one of the wisest decisions I've made in my relatively long life. Finally, I see things for how they are. You have knowingly broken up a marriage and stolen my grandchildren's father away from them. My son has abandoned his wife, children, and dying father to sleep around with a girl he clearly picked up at the gas station. Don't you worry about my making peace with my own decisions, and send me your address.
My address? Why?
I will be packing up my son's belongings and having them delivered over to your place. He is your problem now. I will make sure of it. Is that not what you wanted?
Why would he come here to me? Shouldn't the wife leave his house? Charlie said he and I would kick her out and move in. My apartment is only 800 square feet. We can't live here together. There's barely enough room here for my plants. Why would I stay with Charlie if there's no more inheritance or his big 4,000 square foot house? He's over 10 years older than me and barely makes $4,000 a month. We were counting on that inheritance. You can't pull the rug out from under us like this.
There never was a rug under you, Megan. That's where you're delusional. My precious gemstone of a daughter-in-law has had not one complaint about the $4,000 the whole 15 years of marriage, raising 3 beautiful children. It should be more than enough to feed 2 mouths if managed properly.
I don't want to have to manage money. I want to live without ever having to worry about it. $4,000 is gone like that if I buy one Chanel bag. I don't plan on living like every other middle-class housewife making grocery lists and clipping coupons. I wanted the $10 million and to live like a celebrity, with a cleaning lady and a whole closet dedicated to my future Chanel and Prada bags. Oh, what a waste of time this was. Oh. I'm out. I don't want your garbage son. I can't believe I spent 6 months of my life trying to get nowhere. I demand you pay me for the wasted time. Give me $50,000 and I will disappear forever. Yeah, $50K sounds reasonable, doesn't it? And I won't even say a word to Charlie's wife. That kind of money must be nothing to you. Come on, I gotta get something back. Do you know how many guys try to get my number on a daily basis? But I looked away for 6 whole months. Give me the $50,000 and everyone wins.
The answer is no, Megan. In fact, I'll make sure that my daughter-in-law will hear every word about this about you, and she will decide what she does with you. You are the one that may need to start paying her fines.
Fines? Me to her? What? Why would I get fined?
In our great state of North Carolina, dear, one can sue their spouse's adulterer and take them to court for ruining a marriage. Whether or not you had sex with a spouse matters only secondarily to have a case for what is called an alienation of affection. Looks like your stupidity got you into some serious trouble, doesn't it? Well, I better let you get to it. You have lots to do. Shortly afterwards, my idiot son was thrown out like an old dish rag himself and came crawling back to beg for forgiveness from me and his wife. It was not a pretty sight to behold, seeing my only son on his knees, but it was the least he could do to own up to what he'd done. I myself also asked my daughter-in-law for her forgiveness, for raising a man who turned out to be a terrible husband who broke her heart. I told her that she should decide how to proceed going forward and that I will 100% support whatever she decides. My daughter-in-law, who has a heart of gold, thought long and hard about this sudden onslaught of information and came to a conclusion that made me respect her even more. It was her judgment that keeping a bad husband around was exponentially better than having no father for her 3 children. Can you imagine that? A truly great mother who puts her children above all else, including her own pride and vengeance? However, upon my suggestion, Charles Jr. and his wife Anne both agreed for a brief separation, if only to allow Charles some time to self-reflect, and for Anne to spend quality time with her children in our vacation home in Hawaii. As soon as my husband finally lost his battle to cancer and moved on to be with God, I pulled some strings and sent Anne and her children on an all-expense-paid resort trip for 2 months. What good is a fortune if I don't spend it on my loved ones? I am beyond grateful to have such a beautiful person inside and out come into my life, and sincerely hope that my imbecile son has some capacity left in him to learn a thing or two by following her example. As for the homewrecker, Megan, I'm unsure what fate was waiting for her after her brief time with my son. I could hire a private investigator to find out, if only for my own peace of mind. But I have a feeling my daughter-in-law would rather forgive and forget than hold on to unresolved grudges. In an attempt to learn from her myself, I've chosen to follow in her footsteps. I thank God every day that my grandchildren will grow up to be great human beings, and I will help them get there every day, if only to redeem myself from failing with Charles Jr. All in all, this whole calamity has strengthened us Parkers as a family.
Thank you for watching. We hope you enjoyed the video. Please don't forget to like and subscribe.